Hi everyone, what is up? So in today's video, this video is going to consist of 2 eye looks and a really quick first impressions of this new makeup palette. I'll go ahead and hold it up. So it's going to be of this makeup palette by NYX Cosmetics in collaboration with the Netflix series The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina Part 3, which is coming out this Friday, which I will be binge watching in one day. But right here on the palette, this is actually my favorite part of the palette. Right here you kind of have these little charms or spells, right? And then in the spells it tells you like what shadows will go really nice together. So for example, money charm, girl, that is what I need right now in my life. So the money charm one has Salem, Dark Carnival, and then Limbo. So it is 3 really nice shades that would actually go together. So if you are stumped on any looks, I really do like the idea of having this in the palette to kind of give you some inspiration. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into arm swatches, and then I will show you guys my first look, my second look, and then we can just get into the first impressions. So I have Unholy Union onto my blending brush right now. I'm going to go ahead and apply that into the crease. And I'm going to apply this by kind of packing it in and then blending it out. Alright, so now I'm going to dip into Mortuary, and I'm picking up my blending brush from Sigma in E36, and I'm just going to go into this above crease area and kind of blend this shadow in and kind of soften it up with this lighter pink shade. Okay, so I'm going into the palette. So this right here is a Sigma blending brush in E40, and I'm going in with Angel of Death, and then I'm going to apply that into the crease and sort of into the brow bone just to soften up the look. Alright, so I'm grabbing Angel Death and I'm sort of applying that into the brow bone and blending it in with Mortuary and Unholy Union. So it sort of becomes a gradient and it becomes a lot softer on the eye. Okay, so once you're pretty happy with that blend, you can go ahead and go on to the next step. So this shade right here, Ambrose, is actually really interesting to me. It's almost like a shimmery shade, but it's really nice. Like the formula is kind of different than a normal shimmery shade. So this is what Ambrose looks like. So that is just a gorgeous shade, and I've always noticed that shades like this apply better with a tackier base. So I'm gonna go in with my NYX glitter primer. This is a really good glitter primer, and it's super affordable too. So I'm gonna apply that onto the lid. I'm not gonna cut the crease, I'm just gonna sort of apply it on top of the lid, and when I apply it, I'm gonna go in with a brush like this. So this is what it looks like on the brush. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe it off a bit, just so I only have a little bit when I go onto my lids. Alright, so that's what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and just apply that onto the lid. And I'm just going to apply it right here, going all the way up to there. You also do not need to go in with a lot. Like you'll notice when you go in with the shadow on top, it'll adhere to it really nicely. Alright, I'm just applying it onto this eye. And I'm just going to bring that all the way to here and stop. Alright guys, so as you can see on my eyes, it actually took off a little bit of that shadow, so it'll be really easy for you to see where to apply the 2 shades that I'm going to go in with. So we have Cunning right here, which I'm going to apply with my fingers, and then we have Ambrose right there. So Cunning is going to go into the inner corner, Ambrose is going to go into like the middle part of the lid. Okay you guys, so this one right here is Cunning, and this shade right here is Ambrose. I'm going to go ahead and swipe it for you guys so you guys can see. It's just like a really different type of shimmer. I think it's so nice. So I'm applying Cunning right into the inner corner, and Oh my god, that is such a nice shade. Now when I get to the middle part, I'm gonna go in now with Ambrose. Alright, so I'm just gonna grab my pencil brush so that I could kind of bring these shades a little bit more up, but my pencil brush is really tiny, so it'll allow me to really get into those areas. So I'm applying Cunning and I'm sort of just bringing it slightly a bit more up. I'm going to pick up my brush and pick up Ambrose and just apply that right on top of there. I always like to go in with my finger first to get the most impact with the shadows, and then I like to go in with a brush just to kind of fix any areas that, you know, are really detailed where I can only go in with a brush. I'm going to grab my little blending brush from Sigma and I'm going to add a little bit of Mortuary, which is that light pink, and just apply it right on top of here. I'm gonna go right into here with that super dark shade, which is Unholy Union. Picking up that same brush that we used before, we're just going to add that into the outer corner. And I'm going to apply this shade right here, which is NYX Scratch, onto my cheeks. Alright, so this is what NYX Scratch looks like on the cheeks. I actually think this is a really pretty blush shade. So I only have it on this side. Let's go ahead and pop it onto here. So I'm going to go in with a little bit and kind of build up the shade. Alright, so that is what it looks like on both the cheeks. I actually like the finished look. I feel like the blush is actually really good. Alright, so for my second look, I call this my attempt to pretty much try and use every single shade from the palette. So this is what I ended up coming up with. I wanted to do something that was a little bit more darker. Alright, so with a Sigma blending brush in E40, I'm going to go in with Blood Earth, which is this matte orangey shade right here. And I'm going to apply that into the crease. And I'm just sticking this into the crease and I'm going back and forth, circular motions. Alright guys, so that is what Blood Orange looks like in the crease and upper crease, and I actually am really happy with how it looks. It was really easy to blend, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into another. So I'm going to go back into the palette and jump in with a darker shade. Alright, so I'm going to use the same exact brush, my Sigma Blending E40 brush, and I'm just going to dip into Dark Baptism right here, and I'm going to apply this shade into the outer crease and crease. Alright guys, so that is what it looks like on the brush. I'm going to apply this into the outer crease right here and blend that in with Blood Orange. So I really like how it looks. I feel like it's a nice gradient right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just add a little bit more orange into my upper crease. So I'm gonna dip back into the palette and pick up Blood Orange one more time with the same exact brush. Alright, so I'm going to pick up my Lifetime supply of Louise base and a flat shader brush, and what I'm going to do is kind of apply a little bit onto my lid just to make my lid a bit more tacky, because I'm going to go in with a really bright color from the palette. Okay, so this is what it should look like on your brush. I went ahead and took off any excess on my hand, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply that onto the lid. And don't worry, this doesn't need to be perfect. I'm just going to go super quickly and apply it onto my lid. I'm grabbing this bigger concealer brush and I'm sort of blending where I added the P. Louise base with the shadows above. Like I said, I don't want it to be like harsh. I want it to be like really, really smooth. Alright, so I'm going to go in with Hell on Earth, which is this really, really bright red shade right here. And we're going to apply that onto the lid. Alright, so I'm applying this bright red shade right on top of here onto the lid. And I'm going to pat that on in order to get the most pigment and make that really show up on the lid. And I'm going to leave a little bit of room right here because I'm going to go in with a shimmer shade. Going into the palette, I'm picking up Devil's Work, which is this bright orangey shimmery shade, and I'm picking up my Sigma Cream color brush in E58. Just mixing Devil's Work onto this bright red right here into the inner corner. So I'm going in with the shade Hellraiser into my outer corner, and this is a Sigma eye shading brush in E55. Go ahead and apply that into my outer corner right here, right next to Hell on Earth. Alright, so I really like the way that Hellraiser is actually mixing with that shade Hell on Earth. It actually mixes really, really nicely together. Alright you guys, so that is what it looks like. I feel like you can barely see the shade Blood on Earth that I went in with originally, and maybe I just covered it up. I'm not really sure, but I'm just going to pick up that same brush from the very beginning, my blending brush, and just apply it right on top of here. And I'm going to lightly apply Blood on Earth right on top of here. So I'm picking up this shade right here and a really, really tiny brush and applying that into my inner corner. Alright you guys, so I'm just applying Acrimony into my inner corner and lower lash line. I'm going to go in with Dark Princess into my lower lash line, and then I want to finish it off into my lower lash line towards the end with this shade right here, which is called Exorcism. So we're going to dip into Dark Princess and Exorcism. I'm going to go in with Salem, which is this dark matte shade right here, and a small angled brush like this, and apply a small little wing on top of my eye. Alright you guys, so I'm going to go through my first impressions pretty quickly. I'm just going to break it down by categories. So I'm going to start off with price first. So the price point on this is $35. So personally, I think that is a really high price considering this is a drugstore product and other NYX Cosmetics items are less than that. I think the price point obviously went up because this is a collaboration with the Netflix series. But yeah, personally, I feel like the price point was a little high. I feel like for drugstore, it should be, I don't know, maybe like the $30 range, $25 to $30 range for like a big palette like this. I feel like it is a bit high in my opinion. Okay, so I would have rather they had just taken out these two blushes and highlight and just dropped down the price because of that, and then even have made the palette even a bit smaller. I didn't think the blushes were bad or the highlight were bad. It's just I feel like they weren't necessary. I feel like a lot of people already have blushes that they really like, and they already have a lot of highlights that I like, and I've heard a lot of people say that they don't actually like when palettes include blushes or highlights, so I feel like that probably could have honestly been taken out, and then it could have even dropped down the price. So that is just what I think in my opinion. I do think the price point is a little bit high, but once again, it is a collaboration, so it is going to be higher than usual. Alright, so the packaging, I think I already mentioned it in the very beginning of the video. It's actually really thin and light, so I don't really mind it, but it is a bit bigger. I'll compare it to Tati Beauty, and you can tell it's just slightly a little bit bigger. So it's definitely more like a collector's item, probably something that you don't really want to take on the go with you. But let's open it up. So I really like the names of all the shadows. I feel like they go really well with the show. Even though I would have preferred a mirror, I do think this is pretty cool. But then again, they could have added this on the back and then included a mirror. I just really like to have mirrors in my palettes. So I had no problem with blending any of these shadows at all. I thought they were totally fine. And I was actually really impressed with them because I haven't used NYX Cosmetics shadows in a really long time. So if you are worried about the formula, I had no problem using it. I actually really enjoyed this palette, and I would definitely be using it again. I also really want to point out that there was some formulas in here that are actually really unique. So these two shades, Cunning and Ambrose, were so nice. They're just a whole different type of formula, and they shine so nice on the eyes. This is Ambrose, and this one right here is Cunning, and the formula is so good on this. It literally makes your eyes look wet. It almost reminds me of the metallic shadows from Tati Beauty. So yeah, overall I do really like the palette, and I will definitely be using it a lot. I feel like if you are not a fan of the show, then maybe you could probably pass on this. I feel like the biggest reason that I really got this palette is because I am such a big fan of the show, and I love the whole theme of it and everything, and it's just really cool, you know, like a collector's item. But I feel like if you aren't that big of a fan of the show, like, I don't know if you necessarily need it. You probably already have something in your collection like it. Pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.